Tonight, we will dream about Pompeii, a city that once lived in laughter, music, and joy, until the day it fell silent. Close your eyes, relax, and let this story carry you back in time, 2,000 years ago. Hello my friend, and welcome to this journey. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Before we begin, I want to know something. Where are you listening from? Which city, which country? Write it in the comments below, because maybe, in the next story, we will travel there together. Your home, your history, your story. Now, take a deep breath. Let your body rest, let your mind wander. You don't need to do anything, just listen, and let the story unfold. If you're lying in bed, get comfortable, close your eyes. If you're sitting down, loosen your shoulders, breathe slowly. This is your time. Your moment to escape, to dream, and to feel safe. And now, let's begin. Imagine this. You're walking through a thriving Roman city. Merchants shout in the marketplace. Children laugh in the streets. And in the distance, a mountain stands silent, calm, almost protective. No one knew, that mountain was a ticking clock. In the year 79 AD, the silence broke. Mount Vesuvius roared to life. In less than 24 hours, an entire city would disappear. Pompeii wasn't destroyed. It was captured, frozen, in its final breath. A tragedy, yes. But also, a message. Every wall, every street, every body preserved in ash, still whispers to us. Across 2,000 years. When explorers rediscovered Pompeii centuries later, they didn't just find ruins. They found time itself, standing still. Tables with bread still waiting to be eaten. Graffiti on stone walls, shouting jokes from another age. And casts of human figures. Faces twisted in fear, in pain, in silence. But Pompeii holds more than history. It holds mystery. Legends say the city was punished by the gods. For its excess, its pleasures, its hidden sins. Even today, whispers of a curse surround Pompeii. Tourists who steal a stone or fragment from the ruins. Write desperate letters, begging to return the stolen pieces. After suffering years of misfortune. Coincidence? Or the city's revenge? So, what really happened that day? How did Pompeii fall? And why does its memory refuse to fade? Tonight, we journey into the ash. Into the fire. To walk through a city that should not exist anymore. A city that speaks louder in death than it ever did in life. But before the eruption, before the silence, Pompeii lived. A city of luxury. Of color. Of joy and temptation. To understand its end, we must first see its life. So let us step back. Into Pompeii, just one day before the fire. Before the eruption, before the silence, Pompeii was alive. Not just alive, it was vibrant. A jewel of the Roman Empire, shining under the shadow of Mount Vesuvius. The city was busy from dawn to dusk. Merchants crowded the forum, their stalls overflowing with goods. From the east came silks, from Greece came olive oil, and from the vineyards of Italy came endless wine. The air carried the smell of baked bread, roasted meat, and fresh fruit. Pompeii was a marketplace of the world. The streets echoed with voices. Latin mingled with Greek. Traders shouted their prices, mothers bargained for food, children laughed and chased each other along the cobblestones. Pompeii was alive with sound, color, and energy. And when the people wanted entertainment, the amphitheater answered their call. Gladiators clashed in the arena, musicians played, actors performed tragedies and comedies. Thousands filled the seats, their cheers rising into the sky. For a city of only 20,000, Pompeii lived like Rome itself. Baths were not just about hygiene. They were the heartbeat of the city. In the steam-filled rooms, men gossiped, politicians schemed, and businessmen struck deals. Here, everyone from rich to poor gathered. Here, Pompeii spoke as one. The wealthy lived in villas decorated with mosaics and statues. Courtyards with fountains glistened in the sun. At night, lavish banquets filled their halls, couches lined with guests, servants pouring wine, laughter spilling into the night air. Pompeii knew how to live. And the art of Pompeii spoke of that life. On their walls, paintings told stories of gods, heroes, and lovers. Some frescoes celebrated music and joy. Others revealed pleasures too bold even for modern eyes. Pompeii was honest about its desires, painted in colors that still survive today. But whispers spread, even then. Some said the gods were watching. Some said Pompeii was too indulgent, too sinful, too free. That a city living in excess would surely meet its punishment. Whether myth or prophecy, those whispers echo eerily today. And yet, most citizens were simple folk. Bakers rising before dawn to knead their dough. Farmers bringing in their crops from nearby fields. Craftsmen shaping marble, wood, and bronze. Their lives were ordinary, their dreams humble. They never knew the mountain above them was restless. To the people of Pompeii, Vesuvius was not a threat. It was a guardian. A silent giant that had always been there. Children grew up under its shadow. Lovers met beneath its slopes. No one imagined it could wake. But beneath the earth, fire was building. Pressure rose with every moment, though no one could feel it. The ground remained still, the skies clear. To the people, life felt eternal. Yet the clock was ticking. Festivals lit the streets with torches. Music echoed in courtyards. Wine flowed until dawn. Pompeii laughed. Pompeii feasted. Pompeii dreamed. The city sparkled with life. And then, silence waited. Pompeii, unaware, lived its last hours in joy. A city standing at the edge of eternity, about to be swallowed by fire. This was Pompeii, the night before the end. The day began like any other. The sun rose over Pompeii, the markets opened, children played in the streets. But deep beneath the earth, Mount Vesuvius was stirring. The silence before the storm had already begun. At first, it was small things. A faint tremor, so light that most dismissed it. A strange cloud rising from the mountain, drifting into the sky. Some noticed, others ignored it. After all, Vesuvius had always been quiet. Why worry now? By midday, the mountain roared. A column of ash and fire exploded into the heavens, rising higher than anyone could imagine. The sun disappeared. Day turned to night. People screamed, animals bolted through the streets, merchants abandoned their stalls. The sky rained ash, thick, heavy, choking the air. Families rushed to escape. Some fled toward the sea, others hid inside their homes. Parents clutched their children, neighbors shouted for loved ones. But the ash fell faster, thicker, darker. Every breath grew harder to take. The city that once laughed and sang, was now drowning in silence and fear. Then came the pumice stones, raining down from the sky like a storm of fire. Roofs collapsed, crushing those who sheltered inside. Streets became blocked, covered in debris. There was no safe place. Not the markets, not the temples, not even the baths that once brought comfort. From the mountain, rivers of fire flowed, burning everything in their path. Vineyards, villas, and fields were swallowed by molten rock. The glow of the eruption lit the night like an endless torch. Those who watched from afar saw not a mountain, but a volcano, alive, furious, unstoppable. Pliny the Younger, a Roman who witnessed the eruption, wrote of the fear. He saw mothers weeping for their children, men crying out to the gods, and others who begged for death to come quickly. Some believed the world itself was ending. That the gods had decided to erase Pompeii from the earth. As the hours passed, the ash piled higher, the air unbreathable. Those who fled to the sea found the waters boiling and the sky raining fire. Those who hid indoors suffocated as their homes filled with smoke. And then came the pyroclastic surge, an avalanche of fire, ash, and gas that moved faster than any man could run. In seconds, Pompeii froze. Bodies, homes, streets, captured in their final breath. When the eruption ended, silence returned. The city was gone. Buried under more than 15 feet of ash and stone. A city that once laughed, feasted, dreamed, was erased in a single day. Pompeii was no more. But was it truly gone? In death, Pompeii did not vanish. It was preserved. Every wall, every fresco, every face caught in ash, remained, waiting to be uncovered centuries later. A message, sealed in fire, for us to uncover. A reminder that life, no matter how beautiful, can end in a single moment. When the firestorm ended, silence fell. Pompeii was gone. No laughter, no music, no voices in the streets. Only ash. A thick, heavy blanket covering every stone, every wall, every life. The city had vanished, but not forever. Beneath the ash, Pompeii was preserved. Homes stood as they were on that final day. Tables left with bread uneaten. Walls painted with colors still fresh. Even graffiti remained, scratched by hands that never expected to be remembered. Pompeii was not destroyed, it was frozen. Captured in its final moment of life. The bodies were not simply gone. They left shadows. Hollows in the ash where human forms had fallen. Archaeologists poured plaster into these spaces, and out came faces. Faces twisted in fear, in pain, in silence. A mother cradling her child. A man covering his mouth. A dog still chained, caught forever in struggle. They are not statues. They are echoes of real lives, stopped in time. Pompeii's walls spoke louder than any monument. Graffiti told of love, of jokes, of anger. One wall read, "Gaius was here." Another, "Marcus loves Julia." Even in their final days, the people of Pompeii left behind words that still speak to us. Not emperors, not generals, but ordinary people, whispering across 2,000 years. Unlike other ruins, Pompeii's colors remain. The red of frescoes, the green of gardens, the gold of mosaics. It is as if time stopped, and every shade of their lives was locked beneath the ash. When we look at Pompeii, we do not see ruins. We see life, paused. To walk through Pompeii today is to feel both awe and sorrow. Every stone whispers, they lived, they laughed, they dreamed. And then, in one moment, it was gone. Yet because of that moment, we can see them. Not as myths. Not as stories. But as people. People like us. Pompeii is more than history. It is a mirror. It shows us how fragile life is, how quickly joy can turn to silence. But it also shows us something rare. A gift from tragedy. A city that speaks across centuries. A city frozen in time. For more than 16 centuries, Pompeii slept. Buried under ash, hidden from the world. Travelers passed by Mount Vesuvius, never knowing that beneath their feet, an entire city lay waiting. In 1748, workers digging near Naples uncovered something strange. Walls. Streets. Frescoes. What they had stumbled upon was not just ruins, it was a city, frozen in time. For the first time in history, people could walk through a Roman city exactly as it had been, on the day it died. Archaeologists were stunned. Tables with bowls still on them. Loaves of bread, carbonized but intact. Paintings bright as if made yesterday. And, most haunting of all, the plaster casts of human forms, caught in their last breath. This was not just history, it was time travel. The rediscovery of Pompeii changed everything. For the first time, historians could see how ordinary Romans truly lived. Their homes, their graffiti, their art. It was not the story of emperors or generals, it was the story of bakers, farmers, lovers, and children. Pompeii became a window into the past that no book could describe. But along with wonder came fear. Stories spread that Pompeii was cursed. Tourists who stole fragments of pottery or stone reported years of bad luck, accidents, illness, tragedy. Many sent letters back to Pompeii, begging to return the stolen pieces, pleading for forgiveness. Even today, the ruins receive packages filled with stolen artifacts, sent back by people who could not bear their misfortune. Despite the legends, Pompeii remains one of the greatest treasures of humanity. Its rediscovery inspired art, literature, and architecture across Europe. Writers described its tragedy. Painters captured its ruins. It became a symbol of both the beauty and the fragility of life. Today, millions walk its streets. They stand in the amphitheater. They gaze at frescoes still glowing with color. They see the shapes of people who lived and died nearly 2,000 years ago. And in every visitor's silence, there is the same thought. This could have been us. Pompeii's rediscovery was not just about the past, it was about the present. It reminded us that no city, no empire, no life is eternal. And yet, through tragedy, Pompeii speaks. It tells us its story so we may remember. And so we may wonder. Pompeii was lost. Then rediscovered. And today, it lives again. Not as the bustling Roman city it once was, but as a window into the past, and a mirror for the present. To walk through Pompeii today is unlike visiting any other ruin. The streets still stretch as they once did. You can step into bakeries, where the ovens remain. You can sit in theaters, where voices once echoed. You can stand in villas painted with colors that still glow after 2,000 years. It is a city of ghosts, but ghosts that speak. Even now, Pompeii is not finished. Archaeologists continue to uncover new homes, new frescoes, new stories. Every year brings discoveries, a fresco of Leda and the Swan, perfectly preserved. A stall selling Roman street food, carbonized but intact. Even skeletons of horses, still harnessed, waiting to flee. Pompeii continues to reveal secrets long after its rediscovery. Yet questions remain. Why did some stay when they could have fled? What became of those who escaped? And what warning does Pompeii hold for us, living in the shadow of volcanoes even today? Vesuvius still looms, silent but alive. Could it happen again? Scientists say yes. And the thought chills every soul who looks up at the mountain. Pompeii is not only about history, it is a lesson. A reminder of how fragile life is, how quickly nature can change everything. It is also a reminder of what we leave behind. Our words. Our art. Our choices. The people of Pompeii left us their world, captured in ash. What will we leave for those who come after us? Millions visit Pompeii each year. They walk the same roads as Romans did. They take photos, they whisper, they wonder. For many, it feels like stepping into another lifetime. For others, it feels like stepping into their own reflection. For we, too, live under mountains, under skies, unaware of what tomorrow may bring. Pompeii was once a city of life, then a city of ash, and now, a city of memory. It asks us not just to look back, but to look within. To remember that every day, every laugh, every love, every moment is precious. Because like Pompeii, life can change in an instant. So tonight, as you drift to sleep, remember Pompeii. A city frozen in time. A story that still whispers. And a reminder that though life is fragile, memory is eternal. And so, our journey through Pompeii comes to an end. From its lively streets to its sudden silence. From centuries of darkness to rediscovery. Pompeii has told us a story unlike any other. A story of life, of tragedy, of memory. As you close your eyes tonight, remember the people of Pompeii. They were bakers, farmers, mothers, children. Ordinary lives, suddenly frozen in time. And yet, because of their story. We are reminded of how precious our own days are. Every laugh, every love, every breath is worth cherishing. If this story moved you, share where you are listening from in the comments. Perhaps your city will be the next place we visit together. There are countless histories, mysteries, and forgotten voices waiting to be heard. Good night. And until our next story.